kick it off. The idea here is this is our first webinar for this year and our first webinar since probably, I guess, early last year. So as we grow and more businesses are coming onto Cookaborough, we're going to be doing these more regularly, looking at doing them about once every couple of months with a different topic and a different focus each time. So thank you everyone who has joined. For those who don't know me, my name is Nick Lewis. I'm one of the co-founders of Cookaborough. And we've got Elle who is helping to moderate, and she'll be looking at the chat and the Q&As. And a couple of other Cookaborough people are on the call as well if there's any questions that we can redirect their way. So look, the idea today is we've got a few people on this call who have been long-time users of Cookaborough, which is great, so thanks for joining. There's a number of you who are relatively new to the platform, and there's also quite a few who are not yet using the platform, are either in the process of onboarding or businesses that we're in conversations with around coming on. So what I'm going to try and do is make the content relevant to everyone. Some parts will be more relevant to others. So just bear with me if it feels like I'm talking about something you already know. It's just for the benefit of the broader audience. Let's get this going. Hang on. There we go. Yeah, so as I said, introduction, then we'll spend a little bit of time doing some platform updates. With the platform updates, I want to talk to some existing features that we see working extremely well for those businesses that are using them. But we're also mindful that there's a large number of businesses on the platform that aren't using some of those features. So we'll spend a little bit of time there, and then we'll finish it off with charts for questions to be asked and any discussion coming off the back of what I go through today. So the first thing I really want to sort of touch on is just this idea of dinner is being disrupted, with the, I guess, the objective of those of you who are already doing ready-made meals or home-cooked meals, reinforcing that you are in a great place and a great space in terms of the growth and the opportunity. And also for those of you who might not yet be doing ready-made meals, you might be a local food store, might be a catering business, thinking about the opportunity in this space. I just want to emphasize that it is a growing category, and we see it through our own data, but it's also being well documented outside of what we see through our platform. Just interestingly, if you think about Australian households, it's over 10 billion dinners are eaten every year, and Deloitte, who do a regular Future of Food report, recently were talking about the fact that Australians are increasingly eating at home, predominantly during the weekdays, but they're eating meals that have been purchased outside the home. So, gone are the days of people sitting at home and cooking meals for themselves or for their family. They're increasingly looking to outsource. So there is a big opportunity in this space. Part of what's driving that, I guess, growth in demand for ready-made meals is you've got changes in the way people are living and working. So increasingly there are single-parent households. You've got elderly and aging population, people on the NDIS, which I'll talk about a little bit further on. You've also got situations where it's increasingly common that both parents in a household will be working, so they're time poor. And you've also got a growth in the number of single-person households. So these are sort of the dynamics that are driving the demand. We did some, I guess, research, and we ran a promotion late last year where we were talking to customers, and we were getting customers' insights or consumer insights into why they are purchasing and what some of their dinner dilemmas are. And you'll see some of the feedback we got on this page here. Things like people who live alone struggle with meal options for one. So that starts to lend itself into thinking about things like when you're curating your menu, are you offering family meals? Are you offering meals that serve one? Are you doing a combination of both? And again, we don't have recommendations there. It really depends on where you are, who your audience is. But if you know your audience and you've got people in there who are living alone, singles, young professionals, or you've got busy families, start to think about how you might be offering meals and meal sizes that serve the different needs. You'll see here, a lot of what you see is people struggling to stay on top of life's everyday demands. So busy families struggling with busy evening, after school activities, people working long days, late hours, not having time to cook or the inclination to cook. Interestingly, we are seeing a significant growth in that area of people with disabilities, so NDIS, and then also home care packs, people there looking for meal solutions and wanting better meal solutions than what is currently or previously been available to them. We've also spent some time looking and trying to understand where the opportunity lies in terms of days of the week, nights of the week. So what businesses on Cookaborough are not necessarily about is around the weekend. It's not catering for dinner parties. It's not large fancy meals. It's basically looking at that weekday dinner dilemma. So Monday or Sunday through to Thursday night. This is where people are being challenged, and this is where people are looking for solutions for their dinner dilemma. And that's where the opportunity is. So again, with insights and I guess, you know, learnings like this, you start to think about when you would open a menu, when you would close a menu, how you get meals to people earlier in the week rather than later in the week. And I always say that with the caveat that every business is different, and not to be thinking that just because we say you need to deliver earlier in the week that everyone's got to go down that path. But again, the insights are showing us that you know, meals and menus that can get food to people earlier in the week will often be skewing and perhaps performing a little bit better than a menu that might be delivering meals later in the week. And again, we think it's coming from that insight around busy households wanting meal solutions for the week. So if you're already doing it, you're in the right place, as I said up front. And if you're thinking about doing it, it's never been a better time to start your own ready-made meals business or home-cooked meal business, however you want to refer to it. And the opportunity here is for local food businesses to really get a piece of the action. You know, there's different businesses out there that are multinational or sort of, you know, national businesses. This is an opportunity for small local businesses to connect and serve their local community and take a piece of that action. From a Cookaborough point of view, I guess the key thing that we like to get across is we are here to make it easy for local food businesses to start, run and grow their own ready-made meals business. We do that through a platform that is specifically catering to the needs of these types of businesses. So there are other e-commerce solutions out there, such as a Shopify, Squarespace. They're excellent solutions for general e-commerce. What we at Cookaborough are trying to do, and think we've done pretty well to date, is to really go deep on the vertical of a ready-made meals business and understand the specific requirements and then build the functionality that is going to enable those types of businesses to grow and thrive in a way that perhaps they haven't been able to before. And a big part of the way we do that, and those that are on this call who have been on the platform for some time would already know this, we spend a lot of time talking to business owners, talking to cooks and chefs who are using the platform. And from that, we get enormous amounts of insights around new features and functions that we can be looking at building, or perhaps making improvements to existing features and functions. So we really do sort of pride ourselves on staying connected to the users of the platform so that we can continue to evolve it and develop it and make it a better and better solution for your businesses. So I'll switch now to platform updates. So as I said up front, I want to spend a couple of minutes just talking about some existing features that we see when they're used, leading to great results for the businesses that are using them. But for those that were on the call right up front, you would have also heard me say we do see through our back end that there's a lot of businesses that aren't utilising some of these features and functions. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes on, I think there's 3 or 4 of them, and just going through why you should be looking at utilising these features and functions. The first one is through Cookaborough, you've got the ability to service people who are on the NDIS or who have home care packs. So home care packs is government initiative designed to keep elderly people at home, living independently for as long as possible. So in the platform, in your settings, it is very simple to tick a box. And by ticking that box, you're enabling people who are on the NDIS or who have home care packages to be able to order from you within their allowances and within their pack. So there's some nuance to it. Some of these participants will be plan managed, meaning that someone is helping look after them and manage their allowances and will be paying part of the payment. And then you've got some participants who are what is called self-managed. They will be paying 100% upfront, but they will then receive an invoice through the platform that enables them to claim back 70% of the expense. In the ones that are plan managed, when a person or a participant places an order with you, they will pay 30% upfront, and then the other 70% will be invoiced directly to their plan manager, who then pays you. So this is all automated through the platform. The benefit of activating this feature in Cookaborough is that what we see is people who are on the NDIS and on home care packs become very reliant and dependent on you to provide them with the meals that they want. So they are regular customers ordering most weeks or every other week. And when they do order, they're not ordering 1 or 2 meals. It's likely that they'll be ordering sort of 4, 5 or 6 meals. So they're highly valuable to you, and you are highly valuable to them. You're providing them with a meal solution. Often there'll be an interaction and a connection between the business and the participant. So we see it as a really important opportunity for you to service the community at the same time as benefiting your business. Just very quickly, the way to do that for those that haven't activated it, you go into your settings, you choose the kitchen page tab, you scroll to the bottom, there's a section funded orders and gifts, and you will tick the box that says NDIS and home care programs. That'll activate you, and then you'll see there on the right of screen, we can create some collateral material, and I'll talk about the collateral we can create for you a bit further on, but we can create collateral that you can then use to help participants and also plan managers understand how they need to connect their, either themselves or the people that they're managing to your business. So there's a little bit of work to be done around maybe smoothing out the onboarding of a participant. Once they're onboarded though, and we can help with that, it's smooth sailing week in, week out. So that's the first one. If you're not doing NDIS and home care, we'd encourage you to do it, and please follow up if you've got any questions after the webinar. The second feature that is existing on the platform that we see being used well in some instances and in others not so well is the idea of being very clear around, if you are registered for GST, being very clear around what meals you are offering or what menu items you're offering where GST is required to be paid, and which ones where GST isn't required to be paid. We've already seen, and it's been great actually, with Lyndon, who's one of the co-founders of Cookaborough and was a chartered accountant previously. He spent considerable time with a number of business owners and also with their accountants going through this and making sure that there's clarity around the rules. And as a result of that, some of the businesses who are on this call and others that aren't have had significant retrospective payments from the ATO for GST that they paid that they shouldn't have paid. So I won't spend too long on this because I guess it's a complicated area, but the key point is in your recipe section on each recipe, there is a little box where you can check that to say that GST is applicable or GST is not, and there's a link there to a resource that will help you identify which meals are and which meals aren't required to have GST paid. So this is a great way to instantly improve your margins, and the way it's dealt with on platform like Cookaborough as a ready-made meal is different to how it might be done or how it is done if you're serving over the counter at a local food store or if you're a caterer. So again, if this is a relevant area, if you're paying GST and you're not yet using the platform to correctly classify GST on individual items, again, encourage you to get in contact and we can help step you through it. The next one is delivery routing. So many of you are already using the feature in Cookaborough that when your menu's closed, you literally click a button and it exports all the delivery information for that week's menu into Routific, and then it seamlessly does the routing for you, showing you the order of deliveries in the most efficient route. If you've got one driver, it's a simple process. If you've got multiple drivers, you let the system know, you let them know what time they're starting, what day they're starting, what address they're starting from. Very, very useful tool. And this is not a tool that's only for those businesses that are doing large numbers of orders. So if you're doing 15, 20, 25 orders a week, we would still encourage you to activate this feature It really will save you time. It'll get you from first delivery to second delivery to third delivery and so on in a very efficient route. It'll also enable you to customize, as you can see on the screen there. It'll enable you to customize messages and let your customers know when you are approaching. And then likewise, you can also let them know once an order has been delivered. So it's a good customer service thing as well on the day of delivery. So all of that's included in Cookaborough. There's no sort of additional charges or anything like that to be using this routing feature. And all reports we get back from those who are using it is that it's been a significant stress reliever and time saver when it comes to delivery. And again, as I said, it doesn't matter what size business you are, we'd encourage you to use it if you're not. Another feature that's existing in the platform that we see often used, and when it is used well, it leads to great results, but likewise, we see many businesses that aren't yet using this feature, is the one where you can create meal packs. And the benefit of creating a meal pack is it gives you the opportunity to increase the size of order that a customer is putting into their basket. And it also is a way of delivering extra value to your customers. So what we will often see as a great or a typical approach to a meal pack that sells well, it might be a meal pack that is 5 individual meals, single serves in a pack. You might normally sell 5 singles or a single serve for $15. When you put them into a 5-meal pack, you might be discounting that price to $13. So your customer's making a saving, but at the same time, you're getting a larger order. With the meal packs, you can do them as fixed meal packs, which means you specify exactly what's in that pack, or you can do a custom pack, which gives your customers the opportunity to choose from the options that you make available to them. So again, I'm not going too deep into these. We could be doing demos of the platform and showing you how to create and build. I'm very mindful that many of you are already using these functions and features. So it's really more for those of you who aren't yet to be firstly aware of them. And then secondly, if you are interested and need some assistance, to let us know. All right, so now probably what most of you are here for, I'm going to walk through, what have we got? We've got 8 features that are relatively new to the platform. Some have been on for a month or two, and some of them are literally only in the last few days or last week. So bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to bring up the platform in a moment. But the ones we'll go through, I'm going to show you how to archive recipes. That was one that's come about as a result of a number of businesses having a very large list of recipes and wanting to be able to maintain and manage and better organize how their recipes are stored. Dietary icons, this is things like gluten-free, keto, vegetarian, vegan. This is a great way for your customers to be able to quickly visually identify meals that are relevant to their dietary requirements. And it also leads into, you'll see down the bottom there, specialties. So we've built a functionality that will help people discover you based on your specialties, which links back to the dietary. So I'll go through those. Menu section labels, that's around navigation of menus and making it easier for you to curate and build a menu, and then making it easier for your customers to find the things that they're looking for on your menu. And then one of the new features goes well with, it's been sitting there for a while in recipes, whilst we needed to build out the rest of the functionality. That's now gone live last week, so I'll walk through that. And then I'll go through those bottom 4 quickly at the end. So let's just switch over. Okay. So hopefully everyone can still see my my screen with the dashboard. Elle, is that coming through clearly for you?
Yep, sure thing. You might just want to press the green button to make it full screen.
Okay, thank you. There we go. Rightio. So the first one that I wanted to take you through is how to archive recipes. So over here on our navigation bar on the left-hand side, food, into recipes, you'll see over here there is the recipes, and then there is a tab for archive. So if you end up in a situation where you've got lots of recipes and there are recipes that you're no longer going to use, or you might be using them, but you're certainly not going to use them in the near future. So they might be items specific to moments like Christmas. You can archive them. The way to either archive or delete a recipe is to simply click over here on remove on the far right side. You'll get the opportunity to archive or delete. If you archive, once you've archived it, it will now be sitting over here in the archive section. And if you ever want to restore it, you just click restore and it'll go back into your recipe. So it's just a quick way and an easy way to clean up the recipes that are on display in your recipe section. If you try to delete, let's see, I'll see if I can do one here. If you try and delete, it'll ask you, are you sure you want to delete? Because if you do delete, it's gone forever. This action cannot be undone. And there it goes. If you try and delete a recipe that has had orders on it in the past, you cannot do that. And the reason you can't do that, you can only archive it, is because that recipe will have data, financial data associated with it that will be relevant to your reports, your profit and loss, etc. So if it's got orders on it in the past, you just need to archive it rather than delete it. Okay, the other one I wanted to then talk about is dietary icons. You can see them here. If I go into the classic pumpkin soup as an example, scroll down, you've got these dietaries here. At the moment, there are 15 dietaries. There'll be 16 shortly because we're adding organic. And the idea here is that by clicking these icons, they will display on the customer-facing side alongside the menu item. So as I said before, it's a really good way for people very quickly to be able to find items that are gluten-free or vegetarian. You'll see here that each one's got a number, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are the order in which I've clicked them, and they are the order in which they will be presented to your customers. On the preview of a menu item, we show 3 dietaries. If there is a 4th or more, there will be a little word that says more. When they expand it, they will see the additional dietary icon. So the way to do this is probably to start by the ones that are probably most relevant to that meal item, or the dietary that is most relevant to your customers. So gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian are ones that we are seeing commonly used, and then others are less common. So click them in the order that you want them to appear. I'll show you afterwards. I'm going to flick across to the customer side and we'll show you how these icons are appearing. But yeah, please, if you're not doing them or haven't been using them, please start to use them when you're putting in new recipes. And then perhaps as you're building your weekly menu as a way of bringing those recipes up to date. Each week when you build your menu, maybe go back into those recipes on the week's menu and just check that you've got the dietary or the relevant dietary icons clicked and turned on. Okay, the third thing I wanted to talk about was the menu section labels. So you'll see up here, previously when you chose a menu section, everyone on the platform got a very, very, very long list of every menu section that any other business on the platform was using. So what that meant is that you were being confronted or presented with a lot of irrelevant labels that weren't appropriate for your business and what you're offering. So we've tidied this up now so that each business can create and curate their own label menu sections. So you'll see here, these are the ones that I've created in my my business. If you want to create a new one, you've got 2 options. You can do it from the recipe here, where it says add edit menu sections, or you can also go over to your side panel over here on the left-hand side under food. So I'll click here and just give you an example of how this works. I might go, I want to have a section on my menus that is curries. I add that. And when I add it, it's going to go to the bottom of the list. Now, the order of the sections here is how a menu will be created. So as you add items to your menu, in this instance, starters will be at the top, then snacks, then mains, then soups, and so on. So you might look at this and go, actually, I don't want snacks sitting above mains and soups. So you can click and drag wherever you see those dots. You can click and drag, and you can move it down and change the order of it. And that is a way where you can start to curate how your menu is going to present to your customers. So that's the menu sections. Again, seeing most businesses look like they are using the menu section labels. That's great. If you aren't, so if you're not, we suggest that you do. If you're a business that's only doing four or five items a week on a menu, it's less relevant to feel like you need to do a menu section. So if you've got one soup, one main, and one dessert, there's probably less of a need to have those sections. It's really for when you've got large menus and you're helping your customers navigate and find the sections that they're looking for. Okay, so the next section that I want to talk about, or the next product update that I want to talk about, is Goes Well With. This is a new feature. The idea here with Goes Well With is it's helping customers to find items that are complementary to something that they have already put in their basket. So you'll see here, I've just clicked into the chicken green curry. If you scroll down, for some time now, we've had a section where Goes Well With, and this is where you can link up to 3 items. So in the example I'm showing here, I've already selected a naan bread, a nice rice, and a chunky beef curry as I guess maybe less of it goes well with, but an item that they might also like. So basically what I've done at this stage is I've just said that the green chicken curry goes well with these 3 items, and I've saved that recipe. Now, when you go and create a menu, so I will click over here on menus, and I'll go into this draft menu. You'll see here that there is now, it's ghosted out at the moment, there is a Goes Well With button. I'm going to add the chunky beef curry, the chicken green curry. So I'll add that to my menu. And I've added that, and it's appearing down here in the mains. I'm just going to sit it at the top of my mains. And you'll see that when I did that, it's got 2 Goes Well With items associated with it. So when we looked at the recipe, we had 3 items that were already associated with that green curry. The reason it's only showing 2 up here is I must already have one of those items on the menu. So what this is telling me is that I have something on my menu, in this case, the chicken green curry, that has 2 items that go well with it that at the moment are not on the menu. So if I want to add and offer the naan bread and the chunky beef curry to my menu this week, I can just click Adds Goes Well With, and those 2 items have now just been, there's the naan bread and there's the chunky beef curry. They have both just been added to my menu for this week. So when you link an item that goes well with in the recipe, you then still have the choice at the menu level whether you want to add or offer that item this week. So I'll take off, for example, the naan bread. I'm going to delete that just down here. And you'll see that the Goes Well With is now showing 1 again. So again, it means that I've got an item on my menu that has an item, which is the naan bread. I don't want to add it, so I'll just leave it as it is. And what that means is that the naan bread is not going to be on the menu this week. So the idea here is, and again, as I said before, I'm going to switch across to the customer side shortly. I'm going to show you the dietaries. I'm going to show you a couple of other things, and I'll also show you how Goes Well With works on the customer side. But that's how you do it in your dashboard. You start by linking items in the recipes down here, all the way down. And as I said, you can do up to 3 items. And then in the menus, whenever you add an item to your menu that has a Goes Well With, that's not already on the menu, you'll get this little 1, 2, or 3 showing up here. We think it'll be a great feature to exactly as we've used here. If you're selling a curry without the rice, it goes well with rice or with a naan bread, things like that. So over to you to find ways to work it. We will be looking at the data and assessing how effective it is in terms of adding items to the basket. The next thing I wanted to talk about was meal size customization. So what we're talking about here, I'm going to click in recipes. For a long time, when you're selling an item on Cookaborough, you've only been able to display that item as a small, medium, or large. And a lot of you were telling us that that really wasn't how you wanted it to be. It might be that you were selling an item that didn't fit one of those 3 labels, or if you're selling it as just a single item, you might not want it showing as small, medium, or large. So what we've done is enable you to edit those labels to either change them to something else or to remove them altogether. So I'm going to click on, I think a good example is the Magnificent Lemon Tart. So we'll use that as the example here. I'll scroll down. You'll see here that I've said that the unit type is slices. And then if we scroll down over here, where we would normally see small, medium, and large, you've got the ability to edit. So what this allows me to do is rather than sell my tart as a small or a medium or a large, I can sell it by the slice, or I can sell it as a whole. And the slice is obviously 1 serve and the whole is, in this case, 6 serves. So it's as simple as going in, and I could go half, for example, save that and say that that's 3, and then save the recipe. I need to charge you for it. So that is the way, and again, we'll look at it on the customer side. An important new small feature that we think may have been missed by some of the businesses using the platform. So yeah, the ability to edit. And as we said, or as I said up front, you can also delete it and save it so that if you're selling something and you don't want to label it as a small, medium, large, or a half, or a whole, or whatever it might be, you can also leave it blank. Okay, I'll save that. Another feature that has been on the platform for some time, but again, it's one of those ones that has perhaps gone under the radar for many of you. And for those of you who do use it, I know it's been highly valuable, is when when a menu closes, you'll often be in a situation where a customer, a loyal customer, regular customer might, send you a text message or call you up and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the close, or I missed the order deadline. Is it not too late to get an order in?" So you can actually place an order for a customer. So over here on the left-hand side, orders, going to food, you'll see here that there is a tab called Place Customer Order over on the right-hand side. When you click that, you are now in a position where you can search for the customer on your database. So I'll search for myself. I'll click that. And now what you are doing at this point in time is you are placing an order. In this case, I've chosen myself, so Nick Lewis, and you go through the process of adding items to your menu, to your order. Obviously, the customer would have needed to give you a phone call, send you a text message or an email. You know what they want to order. You are placing the order for them. And it would be required that they are either set up as a cash customer, which you can see down here. I'll just do that. You'll see here, I've set this customer up as a cash customer, so they could click that, or you would need their credit card details. When you place an order on behalf of a customer, it gets assigned to their profile, so you'll see it as part of their order history. And it also flows through to all your reports, financial reports, menu summary, and individual order. So it's a great way of making sure that you don't miss a sale. You can place a manual order on a menu up until the up until the delivery deadline or the pickup time. Once you hit that, the delivery time slot starting or the pickup time slot starting, the system then deems that it's too late to place an order. You've already done production. So there's a window between when the menu closes and when the fulfillment happens that you can place a manual order on that menu if you choose to do that. Okay. A new feature, I've got 2 more features, and then I'm going to show you a couple of things that are coming, and then we'll be finished. So I'm just looking at the time. It's nearly 25 to, so I think another 10 minutes and we'll be done. Specialties. So over here in your kitchen page, there is a new feature called Your Specialties. And what you're able to do here is select from a list of specialties and identify yourself as being a business that provides a broad selection of these types of meals. So our recommendation here is if you have a couple of vegetarian meals, but you're predominantly serving meats, then don't select vegetarian as an option. We're looking for menus that have a decent offering of vegetarian or gluten-free or vegan or whatever the specialty might be. And the idea here is by identifying yourself as offering these specialties, and I know there are some businesses on the platform that specialize in gluten-free or celiac foods or low FODMAP, or even just businesses that have a broad selection of gluten-free and vegetarian. The idea here is that you are tagging your business profile as specializing in these types of meals. And on the customer side in the Find a Cook, on the public-facing business to customer part of Cookaborough, people are going to be able to come along, type in what their dietary requirements are, and then that is a way that they can filter and find businesses that meet their needs. So as we start to do more of our own efforts in bringing customers to Cookaborough to find cooks on Cookaborough, this is an important feature. So again, it also links back with the dietary icon. So use your dietaries on the meals and then identify your specialties in your settings. The last thing I want to share with you is we've created a new section in your settings up, and you can see it up here, called costs. And what this is, it's the ability in your recipes, and this will be relevant, more relevant to some businesses than others. But what it does, and again, it's in response to requests from a number of you, it gives you the ability when you're creating a recipe to allocate a time to the production of that meal. And when you allocate that time, it'll assign a cost. So at the moment, or up until this point in time, the recipes have just done a calculation on the ingredient costs if you've built out your recipes with ingredients and done the pricing. And again, I know not every business does that, but those that do and are getting the full functionality of the platform, you're now also able to create a section for cost. So you'll see here that I've created previously an apprentice, a cook, a head chef. I might go, I'll create another one, assistant, and I'm going to say the assistant's on $20 an hour, and I add that. So then you're building out here, you're telling the system that your head chef's costing you $50 an hour, a cook's costing you $40, an apprentice $20, and the assistant $20. So they sit here in settings. You'll be able to come in and edit those, and then going over to back into recipes. By the way, I should mention, we will do a follow-up of the recording of this and share it with you, and we'll also give you links to specific sections. So, because I know it's a lot of information. I'll go back into the green chicken curry. You'll see that there is a new section in here where I'm able to select the staff members that are working on this. So I might delete the head chef and say, the cook spends 60 minutes on this and the assistant is doing 30 minutes, add that, and it's now doing a calculation of time here and allocating a time cost to what it takes to do to make this recipe. And then it's also working in with the yield and the sizing, etc., to give you a cost per unit. And again, it just then starts to build out more accuracy around your profit and the margins that you're making. So they're the key features that I wanted to share. I will just switch over now very quickly to the customer side. What I want to show you here is this is where the dietary icons are appearing. So hopefully everyone can see this clearly: gluten-free, no onion, low fat. So they're the three. They are appearing in that order because I click gluten-free first, then no onion, then low fat. You'll see here, this one's got more than three. I click on that and it takes me in, and I can see that that fourth one was low fat. So that's how that displays. And then this is another good example with the soup here. You'll see that rather than having small, medium, and large, I've changed it so that this I've changed one of those labels to be 600 mils and 1200 mils. So here's an example of a way, in addition to the slice and the half and the whole tart, you can be doing it with things like soups where you're showing it in the actual mils rather than a small, medium, or large. And then let's go down to that green chicken curry that we had a look at. Click on that, and you'll see here, this is where the goes well with is presenting. So there's the naan bread. I can look at the details of that. I can choose my size, small, large, and then I can also scroll across. We're just doing a few little refinements on the design of this, but the functionality is all there at the moment. So this is how your customers will see see this being presented. Right, I will now, bear with me a moment. I'm going to bring back up my, okay. So new product updates and features. I hope that's helpful for you. Really, if there's anything there that you're not using, would like to use and need some help, reach out to us, let us know, we'll get you set up. A couple of things that we're working on, and I know there's a few people on this call who are desperately wanting these, and we are deep in development with it. You'll see that on the left-hand side there, this is a screenshot of what our designer Cam has designed and the developers are currently building. You'll see there fresh pasta in the recipe. It's a sub-recipe. So the feature to be able to create a recipe that might be bechamel sauce or fresh pasta or filling, whatever it might be, and then being able to add it to another recipe is in the works and will be available soon. The other thing that you'll soon be able to do in your recipes is you'll be able to click and drag and change the order of the ingredients. So again, we know that that's something that many of you have asked for in terms of how your kitchens work and how the recipe cards work. So that feature's coming shortly. And another new feature that you'll see soon is the scalable recipe card. So we know a number of you use the recipe cards at the moment. They are static. So if you put a recipe into the system and you've told the system that that recipe makes 10 serves, your recipe card will have only ever shown the recipe for 10 serves. What you're going to have the ability to do is to go into the recipe card and you're going to be able to change, customize the serves and then enter the number of serves and then scale it. So when your menu closes, for example, and let's say it's the pretzel, pecan, banana, rum pie, the original menu recipe was for 8 serves. You need to make 32 serves. You enter 32, you press scale, and it's going to adjust that recipe card. You'll also see on the recipe card here that it's pulling through the ingredients in their section. So rather than just having a long list of ingredients, it's showing you the sub-recipes as well. So again, not something for everyone, but certainly something for many of you. So we think that's probably it's still a few weeks away. It's a very technical, complex task in terms of the back end, but it is coming, and we know many of you have been waiting a long time for it. I'm almost done. Promotional collateral pack. So we, our designers have designed some beautiful looking collateral that we can customize with your look and feel. So logo, your QR code, colors, etc. You've got the opportunity to upload images, put in headlines, etc. So I think Elle, who's on this call, will drop the link to the promotional collateral pack order form. I think many of you have already ordered it. For those of you that haven't and want to use collateral, or at least look at what collateral is available, maybe grab the link from the chat, and then when you're ready, have a click through it and feel free to place an order. We've had a lot of requests for the collateral, so I think typically we would say it's about a 5-day turnaround. It's probably blown out to sort of a week to maybe a week and a half, but we're trying to get through it as quickly as possible. So please, if you haven't ordered some and you'd like it, please do so. And also, if you want to know which pieces work well and what the feedback we've had from businesses that have used it, again, just reach out and we can have a chat to you around which pieces seem to work best in which situation. Okay, so that is it from me. I'm going to hand it over to you guys for any questions, and then otherwise we're done. But just before I do that, when we close out of this webinar, you will get a link where we've just got, I think it's 4, well, it's 3 questions. We'll call it 3. It says 4, but the first one's just who you are and your business name, and that's an optional field. But it'd be really helpful for us if you could take a moment to tell us, the thing that you like most about Cookaborough. It might be a feature, it might be a couple of functions of the platform, whatever it is. It might be that it saves time. If you could take a moment to let us know what you like most about Cookaborough, that would be great. And then also let us know what is one thing that Cookaborough doesn't do that you would like it to do. Because this, as I said up front, spending time talking to cooks and business owners and chefs who use the platform is how we get insights and understanding around what you need, what needs to work better, what we need to build. So it's helpful for us to get your input here. And then also just helpful for us to know how satisfied you are with Cookaborough overall. So you'll see there is a scale of 0 to 10. And, you know, if you're not satisfied, we would really like to hear. Most of the time, I think we get great feedback. But if there are things that aren't working for you, you've got to let us know so that we can work on addressing them. So that is all from me. I'm assuming we've got everyone turned on, or if you've got a question, I think you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Or Elle, I think you've been keeping an eye on the chat and the Q&A. So maybe if there's any questions there that I could answer now.
Yeah, can you see the questions if you click on Q&A at the bottom? Otherwise, I can read them out to you.
Let me see. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, is the SS, so this is from Nellie. Hi, Nellie. Is the SMS reminder far away? That's a really great question insofar as we are really mindful of the value of that. So this is the idea that rather than relying on email as the order reminder, using SMS, which is obviously more instant and immediate in terms of customers receiving it. And then also in that SMS being able to have a link that will take people directly through to your customers. Nellie, I'll need to come back to you. We have a long task list. I know that the SMS messaging is sitting right up near the top of the to do next. What that means is we're not working on it yet, but it's very close to being a task that we will design and develop. So understand the importance and the value of it, and I'll come back and let you know the timing of that. Luke from Crooked Kitchen, thanks Luke. So the question there is, since Cookaborough is charged as a percentage of sales, can there be an addition of the Cookaborough percentage to the individual recipe so we know what amount is coming out of each recipe? Again, that is something I'd need to go away and look at, Luke, but it's very possible. So I think here, if I understand correctly, the ability to identify as part of a meal cost the 7.5%, and to be able to flag that in the meal. So again, that's something that we will take back to our team and look at how we can then implement it. What we'll often also do with these things when a business has an idea or a question, we'll go and talk to other business owners and say, hey, would it be helpful if you had this? And then it helps us create orders of priorities based on which features and functions are going to represent the most value to you. Kelly's got a question here. If we are entering a late customer order who is on the NDA as home care, does their discount still automatically come off the total? Yes, Kelly, it should. So if they're in your system as an NDIS or home care pack customer, and you've identified them as that's who you're placing the late order or the manual order for, it will flow through. I think there's quite a few other questions. I might leave it there, and instead what I will do is make sure, and there's some questions here that I need to go away and involve other members of Cookaborough into answering. So what we will do is we will capture all the questions and we will reply directly to you. And if they're questions that we think are relevant to the broader group, we'll find a way to share that as well. So everyone's across all the questions that have been asked. Rightio, I'm keeping an eye on the time. I think we've gone 6 minutes over. So if there aren't any questions, just want to thank everyone for your time and for coming along. Please, as I said a few times now, please reach out if you do have any questions or ideas on the platform. And if you could take a couple of minutes just to fill out answers to those questions in the link that you'll see when we shut down the webinar, that would also be greatly appreciated. Okay, thank you everyone for your time.